Everyone, this is Kroll Senchu, and welcome to my fourth Let's Play. Surprise! Not what either of us probably expected, except for those of you who are in the future and come back to this playlist on purpose. This is Champions Online. So, I'll go ahead, I'm going to get started on this because it can take a bit to get going. I'm going to be making a freeform character. I'm going to do a level 1 to 40 Let's Play. I'm only going to be doing the really good content. By this, I specify that there's a lot of garbage content added in later on. Some people love it, I hate it. So, up to you, I guess. You'll have to decide for yourself. Now, I know it's going to take me a while to get a lot of these things going. I should go over a little bit. This can be redone. This is where you're choosing your powers. I'm actually making a freeform character. Okay. Short version. I love City of Heroes. City of Heroes is made by Cryptic Studios, whose second game is Champions Online. So I wanted to play it. I followed it. I got into the late alpha testing. Within like a couple of months, they went into closed beta testing from there. There's just been a few of us, and I took a couple extra months to get in compared to some of the others. But it was still pretty darn cool. And so since I loved it so much, I went ahead and get a lifetime subscription, and to be honest, I've got my money's worth at this point. I still have a lot of gripes about this game. There's some major bugs in it, there's some major game imbalances, and a lot of it's being destroyed by greed from not so much the developers as Perfect World Entertainment, which is their financial baggers who are pretty much known as corporate sharks. Anyways, so you can choose a lot of different types, and you can choose just all kinds of crazy stuff here now. Some of them are going to be locked unless you specifically unlock them, but if you're a gold player, meaning you're paying month to month, you get a free form. I know you can do that. And to be honest, since I'm lifetime subscription, I have that, even if I haven't played for a long, long time, which I've played somewhat recently, maybe in last several months. Alright, so this is where you choose an energy builder. This is just a power that you leave on all the time, and anytime you're not doing another power, you'll go back to this, and it will build up energy, but your other powers generally use energy with some rare exceptions. You do not actually have your full complement of what you're allowed to do when you first start up, but you will be able to as soon as you're out of the tutorial. So you can actually undo any mistakes that you want and potentially skip some of these early powers, but I'm not going to do that. I kind of worked it out. So Shadow Blast is actually going to be decent for what I'm going to do. Now here you're choosing stat boosts. Like for example, if you go for Absolute Zero, you see this bunch of 5s, you see get plus 12 into Recovery and Dexterity. Alright, so there's a lot of really good ones out there. If I were to choose the Void, based on, darkness, etc., then you would be able to see I have Constitution, Endurance, and Ego at plus 10 instead of plus 12, plus 8 on Dexterity. These are the not quite as high, but you really aren't going to get much of a boost. A difference of 5 points isn't going to make much difference endgame. But they can help a bit early on. And it's still useful. And it could be good for roleplay. Now in this case, I'm going to be playing a subpar character. Sorry. I don't really want to go munchkin it out too much. I also want to show off something fun, and that's how to do a pet character. Not just a swarm of pets, you're going to need some powers too, but that'll give you an idea of what to do. So intelligence and presence are still critical to pet-based characters. So because of that, I'm actually going to be having a look through and see if I can find Arcanus, I think it is. Gives the maximum for intelligence and presence, since everything else is secondary to me, that doesn't really matter, I'll probably end up going with Ego as a third stat just because it really is an important one. Since I'm going to be doing a lot of ranged attacks, that'll still be helpful. Presence will increase my healing, my crowd control, resistance, my hold durations. That's pretty nice. It also improves pet health, and intelligence improves pet damage as well as reduces cooldown times, improves stealth detection so your enemies can't sneak past you. Also, of note, Constitution increases your health, Endurance and Recovery are both based on giving your energy back faster. Endurance raises maximum energy, which affects how much you get as well, because it's always a percentage of your energy you get back. Recovery is just how fast you regenerate in general, and if your recovery is higher than your presence, then your self-heals will be based off of your recovery. Otherwise, it's based off of presence. And so if it's not a self-heal, or if your presence is higher, it should be based off of presence. Ego increases range damage, Strength increases melee damage, Dexterity increases critical hit chance and stealth affecting power, so unless you're big in stealth, you don't really need it for more in critical hit chance. And there's also some additional bonuses you can potentially throw in there, like Strength can also improve your knockback resistance and your ability to knock enemies back with melee attacks, versus Ego protects against ranged knocks and hold resistance. So being paralyzed, for example. They've all got their ups and they all got their downs, kind of what it comes down to. And it's pretty cool, and you're going to have some ups and downs no matter how you play. So I'm going to go with Arcanist, and I'm going to go ahead and get started and try not to take too much time on this, but I am going to do a few things on here. First things first, yeah, okay, so I'm going to have to go ahead and do some crazy stunts on this character. As far as costume goes, I have an idea in mind, and I'm going to try to make it relatively quickly. It always takes a little bit to get some of these going, but it'll be fine. I'm going to go to a full mask. And I'm going to actually, before I get too much into this, see, hairstyle, here we go. You can now do 2 hairstyles. I want you to know they have changed things, not always for the better. You can choose parts that clip through each other and look really hideous because of it. Just as a heads up. Thought you might want to know. Oh, and while I'm at it, I always forget to do this. This is one of my first things I do. You go to face sliders. I don't know about you, but to me those eyes look gigantic. Eye height will narrow them down a bit. And eyes will change the overall size a bit. So that's just personally what I do. I tend to actually do a lot of things, like I increase cheek height. It's one of the things I tend to do. And this is more of my personal feel of it, more than anything that's particularly important. And a lot of it really isn't all that big of a deal. You can also increase head size if you find the head's really small, because let's say you've got a ton of increase on your body size. Like, let's say you want to go crazy. Body mass. Yeah, that's hideous. But you can still get some pretty strong characters. I'm probably going to go a little bit thinner. Keep the muscular up. I'll leave it at a normal height so he's not, you know, psychotic. Chest width down a little bit because I'm making it a little bit thinner. Where is... oh, here we go. Waist. Is that it? No. Oh, I'm thinking of the wrong game. I was thinking of City Heroes. In City of Heroes, there's a hip, like, width between the legs you want to turn down, or else it looks ugly once you get out of the character creator. Not so here. This one's okay. Pattern, instead of the basic one, we're going to do a half and half, and I'll show you why in a bit. But I definitely have some things I'm going to have to do on here. So... now, there's only so much you can do. It really is. I'm going to take off the folds of the material. And actually, I think I'm going to run with the leather material. You get a little bit of shine with leather, but more than you get cloth. But metal, you'll notice the black isn't... you can only get dark gray if you go for a metallic look. That's why I don't like it, even though it's got a lot of shine to it. So, if you're going for a really dark color, you may have trouble with metal colors. Or metal-based looks, I mean. Eyebrow, because he shouldn't have his eyebrow on the top of his mask. I'm going to go ahead and remove that. Eyes. Now, this is one thing. You have a left and a right option. So I'm going to go start with the left. Actually, I start with both, because something I can do right off the bat is change it to be solid, which is what I'm doing. And then go to the left-hand side. Alright, so I don't know... okay, so this could be a problem, because I don't remember which is which. Oh, here we go. There we go. Now, there's going to be a little bit of a shine over it no matter what you do. I did get the correct side. Sometimes I get the left and right swapped because it's the character's left, not your left. You know, that kind of thing. It's like, you know, a doctor looks at someone, they have to go to the right to reach to the left of the patient type thing. Anyways, so, but that basically creates a character who's got a little bit of a duality look to it. And you'll see why in a bit, why I'm doing this. So no accessories, no special... wait, I might be having interest in top accessory. Let me see if we got anything in particular. Oh wait, no, none of them would work for what I'm doing. That's okay. It's good enough. Excuse me. Choked for a moment there. Alright, pattern split is not exactly the same as halves. There's a ton of these options out there. Still got some good things in here. Detail. It's a lot of really good ones. I mean, this is no detail, but I really like how much they've done with this. There's some really good options. Now, I have a ton of options. I still don't have all of them. You build up store points over time, basically, just by having a subscription. I think it's like $5 worth a month compared to the $15 you're putting in. So because I have a lifetime subscription, I get a lot of these, which kind of helped me out. But I can't recommend the game quite in as much as I would normally. No, actually, I think I prefer it this way. You didn't think it would go that way. No chest layer, that'll mess up the look. No collar, neck, emblem front. This is the big one. Alright, there are a lot of emblems. Here's something you may not know about. I'm going to go to the actual emblems. And a lot of these emblems were created in a contest. They're made by players. So, for example, that blade hilt look there, that was made by players as part of the entry. I recognize that one. Or there were some really good ones. I think Blade Star might be one of them. I know some of these are. I think that's another one. That's just in the first area. Well, there were 100 entries that got accepted. There originally was going to be 10, then they were looking at 200, and they dropped it down to basically 100 because they found a lot of people were actually breaking copyright, breaking rules, and so they actually had to lose a lot. They see how cool some of these guys are, like Dual Skull. Well, mine's in 100th place. It's not quite as good, but I actually got one in. This is mine, my entry. I actually got this accepted in somehow, some miracle. So that is actually based off the Phantom Mask from, what do you call it, Super Mario Brothers 2. But that was my entry. You can't even see part of it. Maybe if I change the black color a little bit so you can see the lines a little bit. But it's the same idea. You get it. And so, of course, I'm actually running with this, the character looking similar to that. I just kind of wanted to have fun with it. Let's see, shoulders. This is another one where you can split it in half and have one on one side, one of another. So I kind of like to do that. I'm going to go ahead and go to the left. Let's see, that'll be the white side, I believe. Alright, so what I've been doing, I had a character like this before. Now, hopefully we will, by the next video, get started in the actual game. I'm going to try to run as fast as I can into that, not take up too much of your time. But I already have an idea of what I'm looking for, so it won't take as long as it might have otherwise. But I'm trying to remember where these parts are. But the idea is that one side's technological and one's magical. Of course, it doesn't really matter, you know, why is which one which, but it's just kind of a for fun thing I have done before. Where is the one I was thinking of? Am I passing it? There's a ton of them, as you can see, and there's some really cool options on here. This is actually one of my favorites, but I just never end up doing it because it tends to look a little bit dark and gruesome, I guess. And I am trying to move away from that thing in general. But, yeah, it's cool stuff. See, dark armor, disc, giant, where was it? What was it called? So that's the thing, is I have to remember what it was called, or else I'm never gonna find it. Well, there is ancient armor. That would be an interesting way of going about it. Oh, I know what I'm thinking of, and I don't know if there is actually a chest or a shoulder piece for that. That's why it's throwing me off. Well, if we're not gonna have a piece to choose from, I'll have to choose a different one. Whoops, sorry guys. Anyways, so I am doing level 1 to 40. Me and this game go way back, and not all positive. And I'll be honest and upfront about that. I've been kind of ticked off at some of the changes that have been made, because the game was really good in alpha, really good in beta. You could tell it was, you know, an alpha beta game. It still had a lot of work it needed, but, you know, it was okay. It worked out. So what's the big deal then, right? You know, why would I be upset by it? Because launch day there was a massive nerf. Like, super big nerf across everyone, which wasn't so bad. They fixed it. But as time went on, they actually started making some changes that started doing things like taking away the old reward system and replacing in new ones that required a lot more grind. Okay, I know that's a tech look, but can I change the look of it? No. I was going to see if I could. Tech arc is it? You know, it's tech. I was hoping that was the one I was initially going to go. You can make that look and fit in pretty well with some of these other options, but a lot of them are just not what I want. So I think what I better do at this point is choose one that is more like neutral, I guess. Or of course I could go the, you know, that actually is kind of a cool look right there. Hey, that gives me an idea. Let's go for it. Alright, so let's go on the right hand side. Now you cannot have a black color and still pull off the glowy looks like that. Like that same look, if it's Well, it looks like this one is set up for white somehow. Oh, right, right. But if you were to switch it to black on there, just this one, not everything else, it's not wanting to work with me. It's really weird. Anyways, so ignoring the weirdness of whatever it's trying to do, it's the base custom colors is not what I'm trying to change. Is it actually trying to change everything else? No. It was just glitching out. That's the thing, is there's a number of glitches like that. You can't see it, but it's still there. It's just because that's how they set it up. It's okay, though. Now for the technological side. Something preferably spiked. Spike jagged? No, that's not the right type of spikes. That's pretty good. I'll look into that. Tesla's not quite the same, but it might work. Tech vents, tech heavy, some really nice ones. You know what? Let's go with it. Tech arc. Gives it a bit of a different appearance. I guess it's still have to go leather, but it works. Oh, and if you see a white glow like you're seeing down here around something, and I don't know if you can see my cursor, a good chance you won't. Some of the games do, some don't. But anyways, that can actually be a bit of an impact. Or where you can actually change the glow of something, make something apart glow. But anyways, what am I looking at? Oh, right. Normally I would do a cloak, but I don't think I can have a cape that actually goes back and forth. Like mantle basic. I don't think there are any options for a pattern that is halves. Yeah, it's not on here. So you can do something similar to it, though, I believe. I think there's still some split options, isn't there? There's solid. So you could do something like that if you wanted to have a similar look. Of course, you should really go in and experiment and see what there's out there. I mean, there's some really cool, awesome stuff, and it really depends on what you want. So it's just, you know, it's up to you. There's some really awesome options. Lifetime subscriber. I don't know. I never even wore that, even though I'm one of the few who has it, just because it feels more elitist, if that makes sense. I just feel like, you know, I don't really want to go that route. Yeah, I have something someone else doesn't, but that doesn't make me better than them, you know? We're all the same in the end. We're all equals, in my opinion. Alright, I think that's about as good as I'm going to pull off, is probably take the cape off. No, I like this guy's cape. I'm going to come back to the cape, or else I'm going to spend too long. Wait, what? When have I had perk-based options? I don't remember this. Yeah, I don't remember this. Well, that's pretty cool, actually. But, that said, probably don't need that. Where was the third one? Another one I saw down here I liked? What was it called? Tribal, wasn't it? Yeah, that's one I was thinking of. Fits the character anyways. Alright, that'll work. And you can choose whether that's outside, inside, both. Actually, you know what I think would be a good option instead. I hadn't thought about it. Okay, let's go to outside, and we'll make that one... I'm going to go to solid. Here we go. Leave it solid white, and then we'll go on the inside. And surprise, surprise, we'll go solid black. That's not the direction I thought I was going to go, but it will work. So, now we got that going. Alright, so now we got the shoulders, we have the emblem. Alright, so now I'm going to move over to the hands, and it looks like I'm running a little over my normal length of video. But I want to get this done, you know, quick and easy kind of thing. So, comparatively. And I guess we'll just go ahead, we can go with long gloves, they'll probably be fine. Because that still gets some good options, including some good ones for, basically, magic. Mystical. And actually is a claw if you use that one. It's kind of interesting. But it is an option. Oh, you can have a gun, bionic gun, a giant sword hand. Yeah, there's some cool stuff on here. It really does have a lot of interesting things on here. So, let's go ahead. Cybernetic implants, not quite what I'm looking for. Gauntlet. So I'm trying to remember... No, that's claws again. That's the problem. I'm trying to get away from the claws. You know, let's go ahead and see about this, but then we go ahead and just change that over to white. I can't tell if those top two colors are both white. Sometimes there's multiple colors in here. Oh, there is a difference. I was choosing a light gray. Okay. I thought there was a slight impact in the look there. Sometimes it's really hard to tell between the lightest and the second lightest kind of thing. Okay, well I better do a double check real quick here. Did I have anything else I changed? I don't think most of them had much of anything changed on it. So yeah, I think we're okay actually. So that's not bad. So what was it? That's chest layer, color, neck, emblem, front is still set up with a... Let's link it. That would be a problem if I didn't. Hang on, is this linked then? The eyes I know aren't linked because I had that special effect I put on. Alright, I think we got it. Okay, so then we go to the right hand side, and instead of that one, I think we had some really good ones in here. Actually, I was thinking about this one just because it does have a little bit of a different look to it. You know, we can get our pitch black look to it. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Okay, and we'll drop down to here. By the way, they've changed it. Hang on. So I was going to show you something with that they've changed the way they do it. So I guess you don't have to. They actually made it a little more reasonable to figure out. The belt side used to have a different option in there. I wonder if they merged this in or something. Or yeah, they put it under hip slayer. They didn't used to have hip slayer combined with belt options. So that's kind of the difference. Now, we don't need a belt, but we need to go in the legs, and we need to drop it to halves, not split, halves. Dang. Okay, this is hopefully not going to take much longer, but we're definitely not going to go ahead and start it until we actually get in there. I think I'm going to go ahead and put a belt on him. It could be interesting one way or the other, whatever I want to do in here. And here's an arcane look. You know, it's definitely a lot to it. Where was it? This thing. Oh, I know what I'm thinking of. Oh, there might be a giant one. I'm not sure. Yeah, Draconian's not necessarily. Oh, that can't be leather. Okay. Canisters is kind of an interesting one for some of your more technological or, you know, have a bunch of things. Oh, this is actually an unlockable one, but I never use it. Dark Fantasy is only part of it. It's like the lower... That thing is sticking up there is actually the lower jaw of a skull. Nah, I'll just go back to none, because it detracts from the half and half thing a little bit too much for me. Alright, so then I guess that just leaves feet, right? Long boot edged. It's actually a good option. Oh, right. Split it. Left side. Magic. What was it that I was going to use? So many options, so little time. I have made so many characters already on here. Not nearly as many as I made in some of these other games, but it's still pretty good. Armor edged plate. I think that actually works pretty well. It has a decent look to it. I will need to make sure that that is completely white in this case, just in case it doesn't quite work out the way I would expect. And then let's go ahead and jump over to the right hand side, our dark side here. And let's see what we can do with this. We're going to be going for a leather look, but we're not actually looking along boot edge, so I should do that first actually. There should be a ton of these tech ones in one specific spot. You guys didn't move it, did you? Oh, here we go. Armor tech. The booster, the heavy plated one, plated smooth. Some of these may not be so good for just how the stick in it. I think the tech booster is a good one. I actually use it primarily, in all honesty, for the fact that it actually has a little bit of a jump jet. You probably can't see too well, but it has a little bit of a jump jet on the back that just helps add on to the look if you're playing a guy who's using the jets, like, and all that kind of stuff. Anyways, I think that gives me a pretty decent character to start with. Now, before we even go into the name, I guess I'll have to leave you in suspense. Let's wait till the next video, because we're already at 25 minutes. But I hope you're going to be able to have a lot of fun with this coming up and be able to cover a lot. It always takes a long time to make a character. I think I'm making record time. That's how characters are. But anyways, I'll see you all next time.